Hey everyone, and welcome to day 20 of the Quaranteam challenge. Today's challenge is the penultimate challenge, so make sure you get out in the garden and give this one a go. Okay, so today's challenge. Today's challenge is a ball mastery challenge, and the reason the video is so long is I really wanted to go into a lot of detail because this challenge in particular is something that I would advise all players to put into their daily routine, particularly as the quarantine challenges finishes in just a few days' time. In a moment, you are going to see the different components involved in the ball mastery challenge for the under 7s to under 12s, followed by the under 13s to under 16s. And then you will see the setup and how the challenge is going to work. So let's head outside and have a look at the different elements of the ball mastery challenge. Okay, so for each age group, you're going to see 5 different components. So for the under 7s to under 12s, the first component is a U-turn. Players need to try and manipulate the ball around a cone in a U shape, dragging the ball back, using the inside of their foot to knock it across, and then playing it forwards. Players will repeat this 5 times. The second component is the outside U-turn. Very similar to the inside, but when you shift the ball across around the back, you're using the outside of your foot, as you can see me doing here in the video. Again, players will be asked to do this 5 times. The third component is a V-cut, where you drag the ball back and then push it back out, creating that V shape. Here you can see me doing it a little bit quicker, so using the opposite foot to drag it back, creating that nice V shape. The fourth component, very similar to the normal V-cut, is the reverse V-cut, where you drag the ball back behind the cone, but then knock it forwards with the outside of your foot. But you're still trying to create that V shape as you drag the ball back and then push it back out. The final component is the square feet, where players staying right directly behind the cone have to move the ball, manipulate the ball around in a square shape. This will be a lot easier if players use both feet to try and move the ball around. Okay, so we've got some much more advanced skills for the 13s to 16s. The first one of them is the tap-tap roll that we did in a video a couple of weeks ago. So players tap the ball twice using the inside of the foot and then roll it over. The second component is the advanced V-cut. So you'll see, similar to what we did with the 7s to 12s, you move the ball in a V shape, but in between the V, you do 2 taps with the inside of your feet. Okay, so the third component is going to be the fake L-turns. So again, something similar to what we've worked on before, but this time, after you've done the L-turn, you grab the ball back and move it back in front of your standing leg. So the L-turn comes in, you stop it and roll the ball back. Push it out, do your L-turn, drag it back, push it out. Again, for each of these components, players are going to be requested to do them 5 times. Here you can see me doing it a little bit quicker. Okay, so now we've got the advanced fake L-turn. So it's going to be combining the elements of what we've done with the V-cut, where we have the 2 taps inside of our feet, with the L-turn as well. So drag back, catch the ball, 2 taps with the inside of the foot, and then push it out to create that V. As you become a little bit more comfortable with this skill, you'll be able to do it quicker and quicker. So moving on to the final skill. Now this one is the only skill that players will be required to do 6 times. So as you can see here, this is the Okocha turn, where players tap the ball inside the feet, then go to the ball roll, which we were working on a little bit earlier, and then they do an inside step over to change direction. Players need to turn around and make sure that after each go, they're facing the other way, otherwise they're not doing it correctly. And during the main challenge, you'll have to do this 6 times. Okay, so here's the setup for the challenge, followed by a demo. So there is 2 blue cones and 2 lines of white cones. The distance from the first blue cone to the first line of white cones is 2 yards, and then the gaps between each of the white cones is 1 yard. The gaps between the two lines, again, is 1 yard, but you will see that the lines of cones are staggered. So you put the second line in the middle of the gaps of the first line. And then the final blue cone is 2 yards off the centre cone on the second line. So here's the demo. You see me doing the U-turn, which we worked with the under 7s to 9s, around the first blue cone. Players will be asked to do this 5 times. Once they've done this, they dribble the ball forwards up to the first line. They go around the back of one cone and then through the gap in the second. Once they've done that, they can choose to go left or right. They go around the blue cone and then they have to do the same on the way back. So you go around one of the cones, creating that figure 8, back into another gap, and then again you can choose to go left or right. Here I've decided to go right, and then I'm back to the start. This is where you will then do the second component. Here is a full demo of me doing it now. Okay, so as you can see at the moment, I'm doing the first component of the under 7s to under 9s, which is the U-turn. Once I've done that, I dribble forwards, create that figure 8 around the white cones, and then dribble through the second line and go round the blue cone at the top. I'll then go back through in the same way and return to the starting position. This is where I will do the second element. So for the young ones, this is the reverse U-turn. Again, players will be asked to do this 5 times before dribbling back through in the same manner. Okay, so here is the extended demo for the under 13s to under 16s. Here you can see the setup as before, and we're doing the first component, which is tap tap roll. Players will do this 5 times, and then they will move on to the lines of white cones, where again you create that figure 8, go through one of the gaps, and then turn around the blue cone at the top. You'll see me doing the figure 8 again, and then cutting through before doing the second component. Here we see the advanced V-cut. Players will do this 5 times again, and then they will go back through in the same manner through the white cones and the blue cone at the top. Okay, so creating that figure 8 shape, going through one of the gaps, and you'll see at the top of the blue cone, I've been doing some turns there. This isn't requested, but it's a little bit of an extra challenge to try and get your feet really working. Okay, so here's the third component, which is the fake L turns. Again, players are going to be asked to do 5 of these before they go to try and dribble through the white cones. Again, creating that figure 8 and then through one of the gaps, around the blue cone at the top, go around the back of one of the cones, then the other, and then through one of the gaps, and you're ready for the fourth component. Here we see the advanced fake L turns. So the drag back comes in, double tap, push out, L turn again, drag back, double tap, push out. 5 of these, and then you're ready to go back to the dribbling element through the white cones. Okay, so back through the white cone, dribble around the back, and then through, decide which way you're going to go, around the blue cone, and then once you make it back to the start, you're ready for the 5th and final element. Now the final element is the Okocha turns, and players are required to do 6 of these. So tap, tap, ball roll, and then an inside step over to change direction. Once you have done 6, you should be facing forwards and ready for the last dribble through. The time will start when you begin your first element of the ball mastery, and your time will finish when you go past the blue cone at the end. Okay, so just to be clear on what the challenge actually is, this challenge requires players to do 5 ball mastery elements. 1 set for the under 7s to under 12s, and another for the under 13s to under 16s. In between completing 5 of each of the individual ball mastery challenges, players are asked to dribble through the white cones in the order that the video and the demo have stated, and then around the blue cone at the top before dribbling back through and then doing the second element. In between each element, players will have to complete 5, or unless stated another number, each of the elements. The player that achieves the quickest time, and the time starts when they start the first element and finishes when they pass the blue cone at the end of the challenge, the person that has the fastest time records himself doing it and posts it onto their designated WhatsApp group will be the winner for this challenge. As always, there'll be a full list of the rules in the description, so have a read through them to make sure you've got your distances correct and all the elements and the amount of repetitions. And as always, good luck for the challenge.